Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Apologies for the short timer. We've had to switch to StreamYard after having some problems with Restream, the software and everything. But the show goes on. We're here again for La PIñA Rosa, of course, Deportivo and Palermo. Look, a kind of very frustrating weekend for Palermo, as you can see from the title. A draw away from home in a game that we should have won. But for Depor, not so good either. The sort of bad run of form continues for them. However, there is a big game coming up against none other than Atlético Madrid in the Copa del Rey coming up very soon, which we will get into as well. But yeah, if you haven't already, guys, please do subscribe to the channel and Ten's channel as well. Of course, this is a show where we talk about Deportivo and Palermo. Year of the Bird, Spurs Newcastle show will be back on Thursday, so we're back to the normal schedule for this week. But yeah, Ten, how are you? Welcome back. Good to be on this show again after we had the technical difficulties, but we finally got there.
Yeah, doing good. Looking forward to both Newcastle and Deportivo games tomorrow, and then I'll be doing the Africa Cup of Nations on Wednesday as well. So yeah, lots of stuff, and yeah, looking forward to how the cup competitions go. Obviously we won't talk about it here, but Newcastle got Aston Villa, which
it would have been Spurs. It would have been Spurs.
And we will you as well. But yeah, obviously looking forward to the games tomorrow. For Deportivo and Newcastle.
100%, yeah. Obviously, it's for the midweek. I've got no games for either of my teams, so I've got kind of a free week almost. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes and all. But yeah, I guess we will start with. By the way, just quickly, you're doing watch-alongs for both the semi-finals because they're both on the same day.
I'm more or less guessing I will.
Okay, perfect. So you guys will most likely catch me on at least one of those, I imagine. So yeah, stay tuned for that on Ten's channel. But yeah, I guess we'll just get straight into it. Let's start off with Deportivo. 1 win in 5 for Deportivo. The slump in form continues, or should I say in all competitions, that is, because in the league it's now 5 games without a win, 3 losses, 2 draws. And the latest draw was this past weekend against Las Palmas, a team that they are battling promotion with as well, as you can see. I'm hoping the screen share works like this. But 1-1 with Las Palmas. They took the lead, Deportivo, with Villares and then Hesse. Is that Hesse that used to play
Yes.
Is that Stoke? He was at Stoke. And it was he had the most random career path. Stoke, Real Madrid, PSG. Just so random, but it was him still going strong that got Las Palmas back into that game. In terms of the stats, Las Palmas were ahead in all of them: shots, XG, possession, all of this. Oh, not that one. In terms of here are the 2 lineups as well. Deportivo going with both teams, according to this, going with a 4-4-2 formation. From what I saw of this, Deportivo probably got a little bit fortunate in a few ways. Las Palmas did miss a penalty in the first half, so it could have obviously been 2-1 at half time. So Deportivo kind of a bit lucky there, but they did have their chances. Obviously, they did take the lead in this game and everything. But whichever way you want to look at it, it is another game where they've dropped points, and it's another game where they have lost ground on the automatic promotions. But I'll let you go. I'll let you go for it, 10. What's your thoughts on another draw for Deportivo, and unfortunately for you guys, more points dropped from automatic promotion?
I mean, to be fair, if you look at who's top of the league, they haven't won any games as well.
Yeah, look, nobody wants it at the moment. It's literally like everyone's. I mean, there's still 4 points, which is actually the same distance as Palermo in Serie B. But obviously, we'll talk about that. But if you'd picked up at least 1 or 2 wins, you're a lot closer. And I guess that must be the frustrating thing.
Yeah, probably the frustrating thing was probably back in December, whereas I feel like obviously the past 2 games that we had, probably against much more better opposition, we kind of expected that we might drop points, and Las Palmas away was obviously going to be a difficult match for Deportivo because obviously, just got relegated from La Liga last season and obviously been unbeaten for quite a while now. But yeah, it's going to be a very, tough run of games still for Deportivo. But this game against Las Palmas, I did say a draw, so I gotta take credit for saying that.
I mean, they were Las Palmas were on form. They had form going into this game. They had the best defense in the league as well.
Yeah, and yet we scored a bicycle kick in that game.
Yeah, no, I don't know how I forgot to mention. Like, your goal was unbelievable.
Yeah,
that goal that you scored was crazy. I completely forgot about it when I was talking. But yeah, unbelievable goal.
Yeah, and then obviously scored a really good goal, and then they had a penalty which Vieira failed to convert. Good save by the new goalkeeper that we have. The second game for us, Fairlow. And then obviously, eventually, Jesse Rodriguez managed to score the equalizer. I will say, for most of the game, you probably expect Las Palmas to have more control of the game and all of that. And obviously, that kind of showed in the second half. We only really had like 3 shots all game, but nothing really significant, whereas Las Palmas did have a few. But we had a few good saves there. The first half, I would say, was quite even, I would say, between the two teams, more or less. But then the second half, I think Las Palmas were probably the much more better team. But I would probably say, I did expect us to not win this game. And the draw was actually the sort of best result we could hope for, considering, like how it's been not...
I mean, they're unbeaten for at least 5 games here, it says. So
yeah. And obviously, a few other teams haven't picked up points that are above us. Everyone in the top 5 didn't pick up a win, but then the teams below us are picking up wins, like Malaga, Cadiz, or the main standouts.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that it seems like the top 5, basically. Nobody really wants it. And then you've got teams here, Cadiz, Malaga, they're starting to catch up. There's you're level on points with Cadiz now. Only two points from actually the likes of Burgos and Sueta as well. So
yeah. So I think it's going to be quite tough, and obviously we'll see what Cordoba and Huesca plays out. Obviously they're playing right now 1-1, but I would still say it's quite open, the race for automatic promotion, because Santander haven't won, in the last 4 games. And then obviously they have to play Barcelona on Thursday, the mighty Barcelona that won the Super Cup last night. But yeah, it's still going to be quite tough, and big up
to Dantrum.
We will beat you 17-0 on the 14th.
Big up to Marcus as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm fuming. I'll let 10 go on Deportivo first, but don't worry, I will get into it.
Yeah, I think overall, it's still pretty close between the teams at the top and all that. Obviously, I feel like obviously we haven't picked up, wins since November, basically. But obviously it's going to be quite tough with some games ahead. Obviously, our next 3 games or even 2 games, we play Almería, who are 3rd place, and then the week after we'll play Racing Santander. So
you're playing 3rd and 1st in the next,
and we just play 2nd. So we've played the top 3.
Would you say, based on kind of because of your run of form, you haven't won since November, you're all of these games without a win and everything, would you say that because of the table, being 4 points off from the top 2, would you say those games against Santander and Almería, would you say they're must-win games? And then if not, is that automatic promotion sort of fading, if that makes sense? I mean, what's your thought? Or is it still kind of
knowing Racing Santander, it will still be open, even if they beat us.
Okay.
knowing them, but I would say obviously the big one is probably against Santander, because obviously they're top of the league and all that, and we're at home, against them, and obviously we'll talk about it in the show in a couple of weeks heading into that game. I think. Oh no, actually next week, when we play them on the 25th, I think. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult. I would still say if we can pick up 4 points in the next 2 games, then I would be okay with that. But I would say we have to get at least a win.
You have to win, yeah. You can't like fail to win both those games. I think.
We have to get at least one. Obviously, of course, 6 out of 6 would be good. So we'll see how things go for Deportivo ahead of, quite you could say eventful week starting tomorrow.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it should be obviously probably the biggest game, definitely the most, I guess, maybe not biggest, but like high profile is the right word. Probably the most high profile game for Deportivo in years since the La Liga days. Of course, look, in terms of the league, they have to pick up form. It's as simple as that because, in it's the same in Serie B, the Championship, all of the second divisions. You can get up very quickly, but you can also fall away very quickly. And I think Deportivo are just falling away at the moment, and they definitely have to be careful. Still in it, definitely 4 points can be turned around, but those next 2 games are huge, absolutely huge in the league. But I mean, for you, just before we move on to obviously that game against Atletico, first of all, what do you think needs to change at the moment? And secondly, has there been any updates with January regarding Deportivo at the moment?
I mean, at the moment, what needs to change for Depor is probably just be a little bit more consistent and try to score as well. Because
you think you're not clinical enough. You don't think?
Yeah, in the past games or so, obviously, what is it like? We've only scored, 4 goals in the 5 games, which isn't good, obviously. And yeah, we did score in the past 2 games, including this one against Las Palmas, but I think we have to kind of be a bit more adventurous, I would say, in terms of like trying to score goals, I would say.
Fair enough. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, like you said, it's two massive games coming up for sure. But
we'll see what we do in January as well.
Has there been any updates? I know you've made 2 signings that we spoke about last week, but has there been any more updates on? I mean, at the moment, you're still keeping hold of Jeremy, which is obviously the main thing for you guys, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen much news, as far as I know, regarding Deportivo and all that. Let me readjust that to make it look nice there. But yeah, I think overall it's going to be quite. I still think there'll probably be a few movements in the transfer window, but as far as since the last show, can't really think of any at the moment.
I mean, do you think you're gonna? I mean, obviously because it's January, I think we have to kind of talk about this. Do you still think you're keeping hold of Jeremy? Because obviously that's the sort of main one for you guys.
I would say yes.
Yes. That's good because, I mean, obviously, as we know, like Chelsea were very close to signing him from Deportivo. Same with Como. Como were very close to signing him as well. So definitely a player that, look, he's definitely been Deportivo's best player this season from what I've seen. Him and probably Meyer as well. Clubs look, because he's a very young player, there's going to be a lot of clubs looking at him. So I think for the promotion push, it's more so than any signing. It's important to keep him, I would say. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's move on to that game that I was talking about. Like I said, probably the most high-profile game for Deportivo in years since 2018, the La Liga days, of course. Atlético Madrid visit A Coruña. Last 16 of the Copa del Rey. Obviously, you could say for Deportivo being a team in the second division against one of the sort of big 3, if you want to call it that, Atleti, along with Barcelona and Real Madrid, of course. Simeone, Alvarez, Griezmann, all of these players, Deportivo, look, it's massive. It's huge for them. It's a shame Palermo haven't had that just yet. Obviously, I know we went out the Coppa Italia. I mean, we would have, if we had got past Udinese, we would have played Juventus in Turin as well. So it would have been definitely our highest profile game. I mean, we had Napoli last year, but I won't talk about that. The less said, the better about how that game went. But what's your thoughts? I mean, how do you see this? Because obviously, look, the Copa del Rey, you're in the last 16, which is obviously impressive for Deportivo this season. Atletico Madrid, obviously, like I said, one of the big three, if you want to call it that, in Spain. How do you view this game? Because it's quite difficult to analyze. Because obviously, look, Atletico should be winning. They should be winning this game, but can Deportivo do anything against them? Because obviously it'll be a big occasion in your home ground and everything.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, before I speak on it, obviously I did do a preview with St. Cheeks. Here's a little clip, just like 18-second clip, just from the preview. 18-second clip. Predictions. The record between Depor and Atleti. Actually, the last time Deportivo beat Atletico in any competition was back in 2009, I believe, in La Liga. So, what that's like.
Oh my God, you guys have a horrendous record against them.
Yeah, so obviously, do check out my preview with St. Keeks. Atleti Fanatics. That's the YouTube channel as well. Well, obviously the video is on my channel. But yeah, obviously not a great historical record, but that was also before Diego Simeone days.
I mean, I actually checked before the show. Your last game against them was in obviously the year you got relegated, 2018, 1-0. You lost 1-0.
That was with Fabian Schär and all
Fabian Schär, yeah. Because obviously that's a link. Fabian Schär must be one of your favorite players because he played for Depor and Newcastle.
And Fabrizio Colaccini. We also signed that. Yeah, I would say this game, obviously I won't talk too much in depth with it because I did my preview. But yeah, looking ahead to it, it's going to be quite tough. Do I think we'll put out our strongest side? I hope so, because I think this is like a good test.
I mean, obviously you got past Mallorca, which is a La Liga team. So
yeah, and obviously if let's say we're in La Liga next season, then obviously it'll be this is like a good litmus test to see where this current Deportivo team are at the moment. Obviously, I do expect Atleti to win tomorrow night, but obviously, we'll see. Maybe there might be a cup upset. I mean, we saw one in England very recently. I'm not going to say Deportivo beating Atleti is an upset because both big clubs anyway. But obviously, if we were to knock out Atleti, then we're in the quarterfinal, and
it's getting serious. Then it's getting you're getting serious about your dream. You're starting to, when you get to the quarters, you're starting to dream of
maybe doing that. Yeah, I mean, I get to have that at least 3 opportunities with Deportivo and Newcastle at least. But yeah, I would probably say
I just clocked it. I just clocked it.
But yeah, obviously it's going to be very tough this game. I do expect Atletico Madrid to win. But yeah, as I said, this is going to be a good litmus test for Deportivo to see where we are in terms of like if we were to get promoted, are we able to compete with a very good side like Atleti at home? So we'll see. We'll see. Unfortunately, I won't go to the game, but should be a really good game.
Yeah, if you could go to that would be amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you already saw Atleti play Lugo last season.
Oh yeah, like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. So you kind of you had a couple of meetings with Atleti with your team.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you got to see Atleti as well.
I did on the way to Bilbao via Madrid. Got to catch an Atleti game against Betis. Unfortunately, the goat Anthony came on. I think he came on at half time, but he was on the bench, which was a shame. But in terms of prediction, look, the obvious one is Atletico Madrid are going to win. La Liga team, a Champions League La Liga team against a second division team. All logic points to that's just logic. I'd say the same with Palermo if we were playing, one of those teams. But who knows? Look, it is you never know. I mean, we've seen upsets before in the Copa del Rey, especially. There's been quite a few over the years, so you never know. obviously Deportivo have that home advantage, but the logical prediction is Atletico Madrid to win this game. I mean, I'm guessing was that your prediction from your preview as well?
You bet you. So you guys should check it out then on my channel. What me and Keek's prediction is. I will say, you would probably expect Atleti to win this game. So we'll see. Obviously, it'll be nice to see if we were to win and all that. But we'll find out. Check out my video with Saint Keeks on my channel.
If you want to find out. If you want to find out Ten's prediction, check out the preview, the full preview for that game on his channel. But moving on, last bit about Deportivo is your next league game. You face Almeria at home. I believe it's at home. Almeria.
No, at the stadium.
Oh, away. My bad. Almeria away. They are currently sitting third. I think is it 4 points? They're 4 points off away from Deportivo.
Just like 2 points or something.
Is it 2 points? I have to get the table back up. So Almeria sit third. Yeah, just 2 points. My bad. 2 points. Just 2 points off Deportivo. Listen, this is a game where if Deportivo can get back to winning ways, this is definitely a great game to do it in. Considering you'll overtake one of your promotion rivals, you'll likely be at least third or fourth come the end of next week. But it's obviously going to be tough because, look, I know Almeria, they're quite inconsistent this season. But Depor are not on a good run. And it's hard to sort of predict Depor. I mean, they've just played Las Palmas, who are also a promotion rival this year. I'll let you go first. How do you see the game against Almeria? Because obviously this will be pretty tough for you guys. Considering your recent form, like it's not sort of good reading going into it. What's your feeling for this game?
Yeah, I think obviously this will be a tough game against Almeria. We don't really have a good historical record as well against them, but obviously earlier in the season we played them. It finished 1-1, which was what? Yeah, it was on my birthday actually. This game, I think
nice.
Was the home game, which ended 1-1, which I think was probably a fair result if I remember. And obviously now we've hit the halfway point of the season now. So, now kind of got an idea of how we've played against them. We played Almeria back in early October. And that ended 1-1. But yeah, we don't really have a good record overall against them, but it's going to be quite tough for us. Obviously, it will also depend on what we do against Atletico Madrid. Maybe some players that start in the Atletico Madrid game play in this game against Almeria, whereas Almeria, they don't play in midweek because they're out of the cup, just like Spurs and Palermo are. So I think...
You had to get it in again. Oh, man.
But yeah, I think overall for this game, I would say I'm not as confident in this game because Almeria are a pretty decent team at the moment and looking like they could get automatic promotion. So I'll say I'll go with a 2-1. Unfortunately, Almeria win. And obviously, you guys can check out my Athletic prediction.
Yeah, I think it will be a draw. I think it will be a draw again. I think you might. Do you know what it is? I have a feeling you might beat. I know it's obviously for next week's show. I have a feeling you might beat Santander. I think that might be because they're obviously on. Both teams aren't on great form. I feel like you.
Barcelona as well.
I feel like right now, like Almeria's, they're quite inconsistent, but they're kind of on better form than Depor and Santander right now. So I think it will be 1-1. I think it will be another draw, just like Las Palmas. In isolation, a draw away at Las Palmas is a decent result.
Yeah,
for you guys, and it's just combined the fact that you haven't won since November. If you'd won those games, I think the result would be a lot better. Obviously, but just like this, and again in isolation, a draw at their ground, Almeria, for you guys, it's not the worst draw in the world, but you need to start winning games. That's kind of where you're at with the recent form, obviously being 4 points off the automatic promotion spots. So I'll be honest, I'm saying a draw. I'm saying 1-1 in this game, if I'm being really honest. But Yeah, before you move on to my tiers, any final thoughts on Deportivo right now?
Well, obviously looking ahead to the game tomorrow. Obviously it'll be at the same time as the Newcastle Man City game because, well, obviously we got to see Atleti, and obviously Atleti did not play this past weekend, so they'll have a little bit of rest, even though like flying from like the Middle East all the way back to Al Coruña.
Oh yeah, the Super Cup. Yeah. Obviously, Xavi Alonso's been sacked for any,
I heard he left.
They're saying mutual consent, but I don't know.
No. But yeah, looking ahead to the game tomorrow, and we'll see how things go with Deportivo La Coruña for the rest of January, I would say.
Yeah, look, you gotta get that win. You gotta return to the form that you were showing in November, October time. You've got to return.
Well, not October.
Mostly November. Yeah, November. You've got to return to that form. Where you won, I think, 5 games in a row. So
soon to be Newcastle as well tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that wraps up Deportivo for this show. Obviously, still struggling in the league, but a massive Copa del Rey match against none other than Atlético Madrid coming up tomorrow. So I'm sure that'll be interesting. But let's move on and let's talk about Palermo. As you can see from the title, we've stumbled yet again away from home. Mantova, 19th in the league. Mantova won. Palermo won. The simple facts of this: we should have won the game. This is simple. We should have won the game. Obviously, they scored a late... For those that haven't seen it, go and check out their goal. This is what I will say, just to kind of cut us a bit of slack. Their goal was incredible. We cannot do anything about that goal. In isolation, that is going to be one of the goals of the season. It was just a rocket from like more than 30 yards out. Mantova, that was their only shot on target their whole game, which is why I'm so frustrated. But nevertheless, incredible goal. Absolutely, it was Maras off the bench, the substitute for them. Incredible goal. Incredible goal. Can't do anything about it in isolation. I get that. But, like Dantrum says in the chat, big up once again, this game was there for the taking. This game should have been killed off so early. Look, the start was amazing. I mean, I'll come to that in a sec, actually. The start was amazing. We started really well. First 10 minutes, we came out the blocks firing. Ceccaroni, who I question whether he's a centre-back at times. He loves to bomb forward. Obviously, we play with the back three, as you can see from the formation. Interesting, unchanged from the last few games. Obviously, to have Bani and Pirozzi back was big after the winter break. Vasic instead of Leduraron. So one change in the forward line. But nevertheless, a team that should have won the game. Like I said, we started so well. We looked really good in the first 10 minutes. We came out the blocks firing, and we got a deserved lead. Obviously, a great ball in from Vasic. Obviously, in from a rare start for Vasic in this game. And Ceccaroni, who made a run forward over to the right. He's ran like all the way from the left-hand side all the way up here. And he got a goal. It was given offside initially, but I don't know how they gave that offside. It was clearly onside. We had chances towards the end of the first half. We obviously after that, I thought Mantova, they responded reasonably well again without creating anything. But we were happy to kind of sit off them, allow them to have the ball. They weren't really doing anything with it, apart from one or two corners here or there. Should have doubled the lead. Should have fucking doubled the lead at the end of the half. I mean, how many shots was it? It was Segre, I think it was. Ranocchia. Poyampalo had one cleared off the line. Bardi, who's our goalkeeper still, who's obviously on loan. We talked about it last show, who's on loan there with an obligation to buy. Of course, made, an unbelievable... I wouldn't say unbelievable, but a very good save, a solid save. And Mantova, at the end of that half, they were getting the blocks in, last-ditch defending. But we should have been more clinical in that moment. It started with actually a really clever free kick, played to Vasic, who forced, again, a good save. It was almost a double save from Bardi, just not, immediately one after another. But obviously, it's point out as well, Mancuso also used to play for us. So a couple of ex Palermo in their team. And obviously, for those that don't know, Banni, their left wing back, is actually the brother of our Banni, Matteo Banni. So they're actually brothers. That's his younger brother for Mantova. So there you go. But that second half, we had Palumbo got a score. Banni turning into a winger, prime Messi towards. Did you see that?
Wait, which Banni? Oh, okay.
Banni. Did you see it towards the end of the game, last 10 minutes or so? Does like some. Do you see that skill he did? And this is like a centre back. Should have made more of that chance as well. You had this was a really strange game actually, because they had to change the referee midway through the first half. The referee, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. I don't know if he was injured or something, but there was a massive delay because the fourth official became the referee because the original referee had to go off, had to stop refereeing. I have no idea what happened. I mean, this is Serie B things, to be honest. But I hope that referee's okay. I hope it was nothing like bad, like serious. Probably, maybe pulled a muscle or something. But I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not too sure. But we should have killed the game. Mantova, like I mentioned, nothing. Literally, I've never seen a team. Genuinely, they are the poorest team I've seen up front. Specifically up front, going forward, they are the poorest team I've seen this season that I've seen Palermo come up against. Obviously, as we know, defensively we've been good. We've got the best defense in the league, but we were never troubled. We were never troubled defensively. The game was comfortable. They didn't offer anything going forward. But this is what they always say in football: no matter how bad the other team are, no matter how non-threatening they look, one goal is never enough. You can never be sure with a one-goal lead, no matter who you are. No matter how good your defense is, like ours, our defense has been brilliant this season on a whole. You can't be sure. And what do you know? We get a goal from the substitute. Who was it? Maras. In the 5th minute of stoppage time, there was, I think, 7 minutes added on. 5th minute of stoppage time. Wonder strike. And it was a massive kick in the teeth, because this is a game we should be winning. If we want automatic promotion, we cannot drop points, with all due respect, to teams like Mantova, who are 19th in the fucking league. We can't drop these stupid points. We can't. If we want automatic promotion, this cannot happen. Because, I'll say it straight up. That Mantova team was piss poor. We should have beaten them 3-4-0. And I hate to say it, I know some of these teams drop points like Monza and everything, but the way I've seen Palermo, like I said, we have a real problem away from home. We have one. I think we have one of our last away win was Empoli, the 7th of December. So not that long ago, but at the same time, that's how many away wins do we actually have? Because I know we drew with Virtus Entella, we drew with Avellino, so that's we failed to beat two. I know Avellino are doing all right, but we failed to beat 2 newly promoted teams. So apart from that Empoli game.
And actually, I just realized now Deportivo has the best away record in the Segunda.
Fantastic. I mean, with us, I'll tell you, so away from home, if I'll get the table up here, I can tell you our away form, actually. So home, we're 3rd, which is obviously great. We've been good at home. Away, we're down in 6th. We've won 3 games away from home all season. And the last, before Empoli, the last one was against Spezia, which is like, I think, October. So this was not good enough whatsoever. Was the performance terrible? No, because we created chances, we looked comfortable, we didn't really look in any danger until right at the end, where they just get an absolute wonder strike, which can happen. I'll be honest, their player Maras, he's never going to score a goal like that again. He will never hit a ball sweeter than he did in that moment, and it was like a 1 in a million strike. But that's the risk. When you don't kill the game off, it's the old saying. When you don't kill the game off, you get punished. And this is exactly what happened in this game. And ultimately, it's cost us 2 points and 2 very cheap points because we 1-1 Mantova. Look where Mantova are. They're absolutely terrible. Second bottom. You know, that goal that they scored was the first goal under, albeit he's only been there a couple of games, but that was their first goal under their new manager. Like, absolutely horrific, man. Genuinely nowhere near good enough. And like I said, the simple fact about this game is it's another game where we should have killed it off. And it's, as they say in football, don't take your chances, get punished. That is literally the summary about this game. It's as simple as that. So, very frustrated. Like I said, the goal in isolation, couldn't do anything about it, but we should have been 2-3-0 up by that point. And like I said, I hate to say it, but the teams around us, you know, Venezia have hit form. I know Monza just lost, but Monza, again, obviously they're in Serie A last season. Frosinone, as much as I hate to say it, I'll be honest, these teams probably win that game. Yeah, and we probably win that game 9 times out of 10 based on the performance and the way the game went. But obviously, you know, what happened. 10, what was your thoughts? I'm guessing you saw some of the clips, you know, some of the game, the highlights and everything. What was your thoughts? Because that is a massive kick in the teeth. A massive kick in the teeth. Because if we would have won, we would have gone within 2 points of second. And it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, obviously not a great game. In the end for Palermo, not to get the result against Mantova. Though to be fair, you're still unbeaten, but you know,
look, we're on a good unbeaten run, but it's too many draws. You know, games that we should be winning, like Avellino and Mantova.
Yeah, I think obviously not killing the game off, as you said, cost Palermo on this one because, you know, even if you want to look at the XG, 2 goals basically for Palermo and 0.29 for Mantova. And yeah, as you said, should have killed the game off in that, even just the first half. If you were 2-0 up, I think you go on to win either 2-0, 2-1 or whatever, but basically you don't lose. And unfortunately,
I think we definitely win. If we got that second goal, that's the win in the bag, I think. Like I said, Mantova offered nothing, absolutely nothing for more than 90 minutes in that game. Nothing.
Yeah, especially when you took the lead early in the game. You know, it would have been nice to add at least a second goal to give a little bit of confidence into the rest of the game. You know, and unfortunately, a very good strike by was it Maras to get the goal?
Maras, yeah. Like I said, he'll never get a goal like that again. It was unbelievable goal, fair play to him, but he'll never get a goal like that again, and it happened to be against us.
Yeah, and ultimately it is 2 points dropped in terms of where you want to be in terms of the league table, the automatic promotion. So
still the same. It's still as it was. We're 4 points off. The only difference is it's Venezia instead of Monza because Monza lost to Virtus Entella, which we're lucky that happened. And the teams around us lost. You know, Catanzaro, Cesena, and Modena all lost. So we actually, the good thing is the only positive thing that comes out of this is we actually gained a point on the teams below us. That's literally it. But it should have been more.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how everything will go for Palermo in terms of like trying to get into the top 2 ultimately. And obviously, you're playing bottom of the league, I believe, Spezia.
Not bottom, but they're just above the automatic relegation zone. So they're in the relegation playoff right now.
So I mean, it'll be interesting, that game.
I mean, Spezia, they've been horrific this season. Plus, they've just lost probably their best player, Salvatore Esposito, who's joined Sampdoria. Who are just two, obviously, I know Brunori's gone there, which we spoke about last week, but he's joined Sampdoria, which is surprising because Esposito, I thought he would join someone like Palermo because obviously we were linked with him. I thought he joined somebody, you know, Palermo, Venezia, these kind of teams. But he ended up going to Sampdoria, which was strange. But I said last show that Mantova and Spezia have to be 6 points. Have to be. We've already lost 2. Spezia has to be still. It doesn't change. Spezia has to be 3 points. Has to be 3 points. Obviously, we're now officially halfway through the season. So obviously, 19 games played.
We're both halfway through the season.
Both, yeah, both teams exactly. Both teams exactly halfway through the season now. If we were to have a similar, I'm looking at it. So, for example, last season, Pisa, funnily enough, who Inzaghi managed last season. Who Inzaghi, by the way, he got a red card. He got sent off for God knows what. He was probably complaining or something, but I don't know what the referee was playing at there. So he'll be in the stands for the next match, unfortunately. But last season, Pisa finished second with 76 points last season. The season before that, I think, who was it the season before? On the one before that, I know Genoa got 73 points and finished second. So to finish second, on average, you need around 70 to 76 points, around that area. If we have the same set, if it's the second half of the season, if we have a similar half to the first half, we'll probably, look, if our points double, we would finish on 72 points, which is obviously in some seasons would be enough. In other seasons, you just miss out, but you definitely be guaranteed to get into the playoff semi-final spots, which is obviously third and fourth. But nevertheless, I think we need an improvement second half of the season. Obviously, we went through that bad run, losing to Monza 3-0 and Juve Stabia, Catanzaro, losing to these teams. So we need to improve on that second half of the season. But technically, you could say we are still on track in terms of the points. If we were to have the same half of the season in the second half as we did in the first half, that could potentially be enough for automatic promotion. Obviously, we're way ahead on points from last season. I don't even need to mention that. Less said about last season, the better. But look, it's nowhere near good enough to drop points to Mantova. The good thing is, like you said, we're still on a good unbeaten run. We have only lost 3 games in 19, but we've drawn too many. 7 draws is way too many for my liking. In terms of, again, forgetting those automatic promotion spots. At the moment, we're going to struggle to get in that top 2. But if we improve, again, if Tramoni comes in, which it looks like he scored, do you see the goal he scored for Pisa against Udinese? Incredible goal in a rare start because he hasn't really been starting for Pisa this season. But it looks more and more likely he will join Palermo. So if we get him in, if we get a midfielder in, that really pushes us on because, and I'll be honest, we need to hurry up with signing because we've lost Brunori. We need an attacker to come in for first and foremost. But hopefully, Tramoni, it gets done. I mean, Poi and Paolo took the whole month last January. I'm hoping it takes a bit quicker to get Tramoni in. But if we do get him in, I think that's a top signing for us, like I spoke about in the last show. But in terms of Spezia, we must win this game. At home at the Barbera. Obviously, we've beaten them already this season, 2-1 away from home, and it should have been more than 2-1. It was a very comfortable game. This has to be 3 points. I trust us, because at home we've been great. Majority of the time this season, apart from Monza, we've been relatively good at home. Albeit the last couple of games, we've just about scraped by against Sampdoria and Padova. Mantova, we almost did another 1-0, but obviously we got punished for this time not killing the game off. Like I said, against Padova and Sampdoria, we didn't kill the game off, but we ended up seeing it out. This time we got punished for not killing the game off. So, we got to start scoring goals more consistently. But Spezia, I'm expecting a big, comfortable win, and it has to be. It really has to be. I'll let you go first on this one, Ten. Palermo Spezia, another massive opportunity. Obviously, with Monza playing Frosinone as well, both 2 teams that are above us playing against each other. So that's a big opportunity because at least one of them are going to drop points. So we have a good chance, again, to close the gap on the teams above us. Hope that, obviously, Venezia drop some points as well. Who have Venezia got? They got Catanzaro, who I know they just lost. But Catanzaro are, overall, have a really good turnaround over the last couple of months or so.
When did we started that turnaround?
Yeah, of course, it was against us. We gave them, I think, their first or second win.
Yeah, the first ever win, I remember.
First win of the season, and since then they've been on great form, and they've found themselves in the playoffs now, just one place below us. So next week has to be a win. Spezia at home, struggling at the bottom. Teams around us playing each other. What's your thoughts, 10? Do you think we get the job done?
Oh, imagine if Spezia, you start Spezia season now.
No. We didn't last time. When we played them the first time, we beat them at their ground.
So, I mean, it'll be tough, obviously, at home, apart from, obviously, that Monza game a few months ago. Obviously, now, against Spezia, it'll be, I wouldn't say easier, but obviously, you have played them, you have beaten them. So, there's at least that sort of confidence that you've got that result over them very recently. But, yeah, in terms of how I feel about this game, I'm going 1-0 Spezia. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually going with 2-0 for Spezia Palermo.
That was actually the score last season. And Spezia, they made it to the playoff final last year. They almost made it to Serie A, losing to Cremonese, of course. But Spezia, we actually beat them last season when they were good, and we were worse. Obviously, I won't talk about what happened in the away game, which 2 goals in the last minute of stoppage time and everything. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. But we did beat them at home, funnily enough, last year, despite our problems and them being definitely a lot better than us last season. Obviously, this year Spezia have been dreadful. We've been obviously much improved. But I'm expecting a big performance. I want to see the performance. I'm not saying we have to win 5-0 every home game. Of course, that's unrealistic. But the same performance as against Calarese, the same performance, I'd say, against Sampdoria. Padova was a bit iffy, but Sampdoria was still a decent level. We need one of those performances. I think we get the win. We're not making it easy for ourselves right now. We're not putting our chances away the way we should. We need to start killing games off. I'm going to go for a 1-0. I'm going to go for another 1-0. Palermo 1, Spezia 0 for me. I think that just based on what we're doing, our defense, I can trust our defense. It's as simple as that. I can trust our defense. Like I said, even that Mantova goal, that was nothing to do with our defense. That was an unbelievable hit. Obviously, we could have maybe closed him down a bit, but still, take nothing away from that goal. I trust our defense, but I'm counting on our forwards. Poyampalo, Palumbo, these guys have to deliver. We'll see if Le Duron comes back in. I thought Vasic was quite good against Mantova, so maybe he'll keep his place. Obviously, it'll be a shame Inzaghi suspended, so he won't be on the touchline with his passion and everything. We need it. But we'll see. We'll see. But I do think we win. But we're not. The simple fact is that more often than not, we're getting results at the moment, but we're not making it easy for ourselves. So I'll go for another 1-0, in my opinion. But 10, any final thoughts on Palermo? Of course, massive game next week, especially with teams above us playing each other. In terms of the fixtures ahead, after Spezia, we got Modena, Bari, Empoli. Obviously, we know who comes back to the Barbera, Virtus Entella, going into February. So, I want to see us put together a proper run of games. I mean, yeah. And any other thoughts on Palermo?
I hope they give 3 points no matter what happens in that Monza Frosinone game. 3 points, both teams.
No, can't happen.
Well, only just for Serie B. How about just give it to them?
I mean, I'll be honest, right? As a Palermo fan, of course, this Frosinone team are fucking annoying me so much because I hate Frosinone and they're top. And unfortunately, they deserve to be top because they've been the most consistent team.
Damn.
Obviously, when we played them, we drew 0-0 second game of the season. It's just frustrating. That's the thing as well, that like we need to go up this year. Not just because of obviously the club and everything like that, but Frosinone look like they're gonna go up. We can't let them go up and not us. We need to go up, honestly. That's the way I see it.
You suffered what you call it, obviously, seeing Frosinone at the top of your league. You get to see Arsenal top of your league.
Catania are top of Serie C in their group in Serie C. They're top.
And then Spurs and Palermo. Yeah,
Palermo. Look, I'll say this. I know it's a different level.
Right.
I know it's a different level. Palermo second division and everything, but Palermo are doing a lot better than Spurs right now. I'm getting a lot more joy out of Palermo than I am Spurs. And even then, I'm still frustrated with Palermo in quite a few ways. But I'm still getting way more joy out of Palermo than I am with Spurs. Spurs, I'm getting like close to 0 right now.
And we'll find out just how much more losses Spurs have to take
Probably
before Tommy goes. But yeah, we'll talk about it on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday will be interesting. If you think I'm annoyed now, just wait till Thursday. You know, the Spurs situation just pisses me off to a whole new level. But I don't know. We need to get signings in. Tramoni, we need to get him in very quickly. That's clearly our number one target. That's clearly the guy that Inzaghi wants. I think it will get done. I just hope that it gets done quickly, is my point. And look, if we get him in, if we get him in, we get him in, and look, everyone's happy. But Poy and Parlo took right until the end of the window last year. And we need to look, if we, like I said, we get Tramoni whenever it is, fantastic. But I want him in for these games. I want him in for, these games coming up. But we'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, I guess, I think that pretty much wraps it up at the moment for the show. Obviously, Deportivo playing more games at the moment because they're still in the cup, unlike Palermo, who are Coppa Italia ended at the hands of Udinese early in the season. September, yeah. So, although we did beat Cremonese, we did beat them, who are now a Serie A team, albeit they kind of scammed their way into Serie A last year. Because
a fully established Serie A team.
I can tell you something about Cremonese. They were not good last season. I know I've briefly talked about it on this show, but they were not good last season. I guess the right way to say it is they kind of drew their way. They drew their way into Serie A, basically. They kind of sneaked in. I don't think they were that good last season. But hey, they got Jamie Vardy now doing it for them. So we'll see. But yeah, Palermo, we need to get back in those automatic spots. That's what we need. We need promotion. I say it every show. I can't stress it enough. We need to get promoted this season. We have to. Because otherwise it will become, the mentality will set in and it will become a bit of a mental block, because I'm not saying we've been super close, because we haven't actually been that close the past couple of years. I mean, the closest we got since returning to Serie B was in 2024. We made it to the playoff semi-final against Venezia, who went on to beat us and then eventually went up to Serie A in 23-24. So the closest we've been is to that in that playoff semi-final. That's the closest we've been. But it's about time we make that next step. We really do. I still have belief, but that Mantova game has just really pissed me off, because we just should have killed it off and taken our chances. It's as simple as that. But yeah, I guess that will wrap up the show. Of course, another episode of La PIÑA ROSA. We will be back on Thursday for Year of the Bird, where 10 will, be happy about Newcastle for a change, and I'll be crying about Spurs.
Obviously, we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, 10. Any final words before we wrap up?
Yeah, looking forward to both games tomorrow, with both Deportivo and Newcastle playing at the same time. So we'll see. And obviously, do check out my preview with St. Keeks regarding the Deportivo Athletic game and what my prediction was for that one. And yeah, obviously doing the Africa Cup of Nations watch-alongs for both games happening on Wednesday. And then obviously the final itself this coming Sunday, when I don't know what national team, when Tunisia, the team I said, are not winning it. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be an interesting week. We'll see how it all plays out, I'm sure. But yeah, big up everyone for watching. As always, we'll be back on Thursday, as I mentioned, and we will see you in the next one.
The Deportivo will win the Copa del Rey.